Hey, what's up, everybody? Hopefully this does not black out or anything. If it does, I apologize. Matter of fact, let me put this over just a little bit so I can get an idea if it does black out or not. I don't think it should. So if I bend my head down a little bit, I apologize. But I want to talk about something. You know, you could probably go to a lot of these message boards out there, especially if you're a Sonic fan like myself. And, well, you're bound to get somebody or a few people or whatever just, arguing over the fact that something's not going their way. And what I mean by that is, a couple months ago, the cover for this month's issue, right here, was released. This is the cover. Now, when this was first released, a couple months ago, it started a heated argument. See, a lot of fans out there felt as though it was out of character for this to happen. They didn't like it. Some of them felt as though it's not necessary. Some felt as though they don't need to see this again. When what I'm talking about is the romance factor in the book. They say they don't need to see this. However, some are okay with it. Now, of course, some of them are supporters and fans of this pairing. That's what they are, the fans and supporters of this pairing. However, there's a group of fans out there, a group of fans, if you will, that go by a short name term that, the fans for this coupling does as well. See, for this group, fans like myself are known as SonicxSally fans. That's what we are. And there are many here on the YT that are like that. However, there's also the group known as the SonicxAmy fans. Now, basically, these two terms are short for SonicxSally, SonicxAmy. Now, again, I mentioned when that cover came out for this month's issue, when that cover was revealed a couple months ago, it started a very heated argument. And even today, days after people have put up the spoilers, the summaries, you go to the Mobius Encyclopedia and Archie Sonic Wikipedia, they got the spoilers and summary on it, and still people argue it. Now, some argue it for the fact that they're sick and tired of seeing this over and over. Some are arguing mostly because of the fact that they feel it's going to be deja vu all over again from 100-something issues ago. Well, they have the right to feel that way. Those people have the right to feel that, they don't want to see this romance stuff again in the comic. And also they have a right for fearing the fact that it could be deja vu all over again. But honestly, they're not the ones really vocaling themselves. You see, a lot of people that stay out of this, that try to make reason out of this, are fans like me. Fans like me that may support the SonicxSally pairing, but we're also neutral. In other words, it wouldn't bother us if the writers of the comic book decided to put Sonic and Amy together and Sally with somebody else. It wouldn't bother us because, as I've mentioned, and a lot of people will agree on, it helps evolve the comic. The comic evolves from this. Some people may say, well, is the comic just about Sonic's romance life? No, it's not. And some fans at different message boards have pointed this out, that for the past few months, nothing is really focused on Sonic's love life until now. Yeah, there have been hints. Hints that, Sonic and Sally are probably getting back together. But most of the other time, there really hasn't been that much going on. Now again, like I said, these people have a right to feel this way because maybe they're more used to what they see in the games, more action-packed, more action-oriented. We get that just as much as we do probably the romance stuff, if not more so. And the thing is, sometimes they don't grasp it, and sometimes they do. And like I said, there's a majority of fans that grasp it and understand that, yeah, you get more action-adventure than you do romance, and when romance comes around, it's kind of like a break from all of it, from all that adventure and action. And it's sort of like, in this case, it's sort of like the calm before the storm. But then again, you got a group, that majority of fans that don't understand it and don't want it around because they feel as though it's not what the franchise is about. Okay. Again, those are understandable. I respect and understand that some people feel that way. However, that's one thing, to kind of grasp it and not grasp it when it comes to having your feeling as though, you've had your feel of romance and don't want it anymore in the book, and on the other hand, where you feel as though, it just balances things out and it's kind of like a nice break, a nice calm before the storm situation, before the action really starts to heat up. You know what I'm saying? And, there's a lot of comics out there, not just Sonic, but other comics from Marvel, DC, Image. They all are the same way. They always have an issue or so that's a calm before the storm. Now, the one thing, though, I will say about Marvel and DC and Image comic and other independent comic book subscribers, the one thing I will say about them is they don't do, is the fact that they don't go to links to prove the point. Now, today, I've been going back and forth with a few people at the Sega.com forums. And basically what I have said is, I understand that what Ian Flynn did with this issue, there's certain scenes, especially one scene, that's not going to please anybody. And I flat out said, hey, if you don't like what you read, then, you got a pen and paper, or you got a PC/laptop and keyboard, do what a lot of fans would do. And I'm pretty sure a lot of fans are doing this with other comic book franchises or other franchises in comic books, and that is write your own version of it. Type up your own version and post it on the websites. Post it at thefanfiction.net. Post it on DeviantArt. Post it on Furfiniant. Post it anywhere you want, even at the fan sites, and say, this is how it's supposed to go. And in your opinion, you should say, in my opinion, this is how it's supposed to go. And that's all I'm saying. Because again, I can understand where some fans are coming from, feeling as though some of the characters, as they have pointed out, are acting out of character. I even told them the same thing I said yesterday when I talked about the highlight in this issue, which I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. I said, one thing I said when I talked about in that highlight video, I said that 98 issues ago, Ken Penders, or whoever was writing this issue 124, you want to talk about out of character, the one thing I agreed that was out of character was for Sonic to become Sally's consort in that issue. And I basically said in one of my recent posts today that if they wanted to make Sonic Sally's consort, they should wait until the comic, it'll probably be a long time from now, but they should wait until the comic officially comes to an end, and then use the final issues to do that. Because I'm pretty sure Sega of America, they won't mind if the final issues of this comic book are used for just that. They won't mind it. Because to be quite honest, when Ken or whoever wrote that issue, 124, made Sonic Sally's consort, that's when I told them that the, you know what, I can't swear, well the thing is I can't swear on the boards, but I can swear here. That's when I told them that's when the shit hit the fan. I didn't say shit on the board, I said you know what. But I basically was saying the shit hit the fan. That's when they did it. That's when everything like this started to happen, is when whoever wrote that issue did that part and caused the shit to hit the fan. Because people didn't like it. Now I had Miko ask me on the same message board what I thought about 134. Now I admitted to them as a SonicxSally fan and supporter, I was disappointed, but I also knew it helped evolve the comic. It was helping the comic to grow. You know, and yes, I will admit, there were a lot of other SonicxSally fans and supporters that weren't happy about what Carl Bowlers and Ken Penders did in that issue. They weren't happy about it. But again, to me, it was to help evolve the comic and make it better than it ever was. And I think a lot of fans need to realize that. Now, was I a little disappointed when Ken kind of hooked Sally with Monkey Con up, or Ken Con up? Was I disappointed when Ian did that in the Iron Dominion saga? Yeah, I was a little disappointed, just like any SonicxSally fan supporter was. But again, just like with 134, I understood that it was to help evolve the comic and help the comic grow, as well as just like with 134, help evolve and grow the characters. Because if you're a longtime fan like I was, and reader, a longtime fan and reader like I was, you knew this was going to probably lead to Sonic and Sally getting back together. Now, I will admit, at the end of issue 207, Ian did hint at the fact that there could be something between Amy and Sonic, but nothing again materialized. Like I said, he teased it, but nothing materialized. And we've seen this in any other kind of media. I've used Saved by the Bell, for example. Saved by the Bell, Hawaiian Style, that movie. You had Zach, you had the main character of Zach, and this female character that was only there for the movie, getting romantically involved, and yet when they parted ways, there was a hint that they could still get back together, but nothing happened. Same with the summer episodes of Saved by the Bell, where they got summer jobs. Zach and the Stacy character. You know, there was a hint at the end when she left that they might still get back together, but nothing materialized. And yet, every time Zach and Kelly broke up and then came back together, you always knew that that was going to happen in some way or fashion. So, you get what I'm saying, right? You get what I'm saying. Despite the fact that Ken had Sally and Sonic, Ken or Cole had Sonic and Sally break up the way they did in issue 134, you knew sometime down the line they were going to get back together. Even if it was 100 issues later, you knew it was going to happen. And you knew when she hooked up with Monkey Con, it was going to happen. You knew when Sonic hooked up with Fiona, it was going to happen. You get what I'm saying, right? I mean, 174, Bunny and Antoine's wedding in 174 even hinted at it. Okay? Now again, you knew that. So to me, when this cover was revealed a couple of months ago, fans should have known whether they liked the idea of this happening or not, and whether they were against it or not. They should have known this was probably going to happen eventually. Now, there is a group of fans out there, like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this video, called the SonicxAmy fans. Now, like some of the SonicxSally fans, like myself, the SonicxAmy fan, there are some SonicxAmy fans that are neutral. In other words, they don't care either way of how it goes, as long, as it's done right. However, there are Sonic and Amy fans that hate the idea that Sonic's hooked up with Sally again, to the point that they're saying Amy's out of character for what she did in this issue, in issue 22, that is. And to me, like I said in my video yesterday, to me, I don't think she was out of character. I think, honestly, Ian, in his own way, was trying to balance out things between both fan bases, and at the same time, help Amy to mature, fully grow and mature, to the point that if Sonic was to become single again, you could consider her as a possible candidate for Sonic's girlfriend in the comic. But, unfortunately, there are those, like I say, Sonic and Amy fans that just plainly don't like Sonic being with Sally or any other girl. To the point that when this cover, like I said, was first unveiled a couple months ago, there were some fans that you can find on DeviantArt, Furnividiot, or wherever, and other art sites, that did this. They altered it by putting Amy in Sally's place. Now there's another one that's the same picture, but it has Sally in Amy's place. I mean, look. See what I'm saying? Now you see Amy right here, right? You see Amy right here. In another version of this picture, Sally's in that position while Amy's in Sally's. Again, you have fans out there going as far as to do that, as alter comic issues, just so they can see what they want to see, without the fact that, as rude as this may sound to some people, without just accepting it and realizing, hey, right now there's not much they can do. Just gotta accept it and deal with it, and just let it be and let it go. Instead, you see them doing things like this, or you see them doing things like this. Now, I'm not saying they don't have a right to do that, because they do. They have all the rights in the world. That's what this country is about: freedom of speech and having the rights to do, and having the right to do what you want to do when you want to do it, say what you want to say when you want to say it, and draw what you want to draw when you want to draw. Excuse me. But again, you would think, they would just be like, oh, okay, he's with Sally again. All right, whoop-de-doo. You think they'd be like, okay, whoop-de-doo. Guess we're just gonna have to deal with it for a few more issues, see how long it goes. You think they'd be like that, but no. They piss and they moan. Oh, they piss, moan, bitch, and complain about it. And I'm pretty sure to the SonicxAmy fans that are neutral, this is embarrassing. Just like to Sonic and Sally fans that are neutral, when the SonicxSally fans go crazy over the fact that Sonic could go with another girl, or whatever, it's embarrassing just as well. So, I mean, yeah, I admit they did some, some of the fans did some alternate versions of, where they had Sonic and Shadow and Sonic and Silver and whatever. But still, you'd think that they would just come out and realize, okay, maybe I'm not going to get what I want, and maybe it's not the way I want it, but at least, it's something. Because think of it this way. If Ian didn't care about the SonicxAmy supporters and fans that wanted Amy with Sonic, would they have had her say the line that she did in this issue? Huh? Would they have done that? I mean, according to the summary, she basically tells the crowd that's after her, that's after Sonic and Sally, questioning them, that, hey, basically, because when one of these people in the crowd points out that she's always after Sonic, she has to calmly tell him, look, yes, I do love Sonic. I do care for Sonic. And if being with Sally makes Sonic happy, then it makes me happy. And yes, I do believe he will be mine one day. See, she acknowledges that she believes in her heart, she believes and feels in her heart that Sonic will be hers one day, will be her boyfriend one day. But that doesn't mean that she's gonna, after holding off, that doesn't mean after holding off the crowd that she's gonna go follow Sonic and Sally, but is gonna silently follow Sonic and Sally behind them, and then when they're not looking, clobber Sally and take her place. No. She's not gonna do that. Basically what Ian did by writing that line, that paragraph and that line for her, that scene for her, was again, in my opinion, to help balance both sides out, try to satisfy both sides, and, in my opinion, fully mature and grow her in the comic to the point that if, like I said earlier, if Sonic became single again, she could now be a possible strong candidate for his next girlfriend. You see, it's not about the fact that, you want this and you want that and you feel this is what it should be and that's what it should be and blah, 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 blah. It's not that, folks. What you need to realize is no matter what you do or say, there's always going to be a majority of fans out there that outnumber the majority of other fans. Now, whether they want to acknowledge it or not, the SonicxAmy fans that are so obsessed at wanting Amy with Sonic just because the only continuity they follow is the games and the Sonic X continuity, what they need to realize is there's a supporting fan base for Sonic and Sally that's been around since 1993. Before Amy Rose, and I may get some flack for this, I may get some heat for this, but this is even before Amy Rose was nationally known. Okay? I mean, when they brought out Sonic CD, did they call her Amy Rose right off the bat? No. When they brought that game here to the United States, the only way they knew fans would recognize that female, would even care about that female character in the game was if she had a name they would recognize, and that name was Princess Sally. Yeah, they changed it later on back to Amy Rose, which is cool, should have been the thing they should have done right off the bat. But still, Sonic and Sally have had a fan base and following and support, neutral or not, since 1993. So for nearly almost 20 years, 2 years away from nearly 20 years, they have had support from the fans, and they've had a fan base supporting the parent. Yes, neutral or not, they've had that fan base. And again, I may get heat for this, but I believe this is what ticks off a lot of the Sonic and Amy fans, because they know, neutral or not, the Sonic and Amy fans know that there's just no way they can compete. I mean, yes, they're trying the hardest. Here, listen to me. I'm giving them all the credit in the world. I'm giving them all the fucking credit, excuse my language, but I'm giving all the fucking credit in the world for trying the hardest to get the writers like Ian Flynn and Tracy Yardlin, get the artists like Ben Page, Jamal Peppers, Paul Kaminsky, or whoever, trying to get them to realize, hey, you want sales to go really through the roof for this comic, then follow the game continuity. Well, guess what? There's a lot of people on these forums Sega.com, Sonic Stadium, Saturday Morning Sonic, Knothole Village, SonicxAmy Sonic, SonicxAmy, if you will. All of these sites, all of these forums at these sites, there have been people that have constantly said the same thing. The comic book, whether you like how it's going or not, has indeed followed the game's continuity in some ways. In other words, it's a combined continuity. It's one continuity combining what was known as SonicxAmy's continuity with the game's continuity. Combined together, it becomes the comic's continuity. There you go. And I believe that's what these fans are saying to those that just don't grasp the fact that it's both continuities, the game continuity, that the fans that only know that continuity, it's that continuity, along with those that just know the SonicxAmy continuity. That's what these fans are trying to point out to both sides, if not more so to the ones that follow the game continuity. That yeah, there is game continuity in it, but it's combined with the SonicxAmy one to become one continuity. They should understand that. But again, it's more the fact that they just don't grasp it. Like I said, there's SonicxAmy fans that do grasp it, that are neutral and don't care either way of how things go. Because they can come out and say, yeah, I support Sonic and Amy as a couple. I would love to see them as a couple, but I'm neutral. I'm cool with whatever happens. Same with the SonicxSally fan and supporter like myself and others out there. SonicxSally supporters like myself who are neutral are the same way. We're like, yeah, we would like SonicxSally to be together like they are in this issue, but we're okay with whatever happens in the future. Like when they had Sonic hooked up with Fiona. When Fiona was a freedom fighter before she turned traitor, we were cool with that. We were cool with that. But then again, there's the areas of the fan bases for both SonicxSally and SonicxAmy that are totally against it. You know what I'm saying? They're totally against it. They don't like it. They hate it. And to them, it's like, they're just ruining the continuity that's supposed to be there. So, again, I can understand on both ends how people feel. But being a neutral, to me, it doesn't matter either way. I mean, if this issue, I'll be honest with you, if this issue had this cover right off the start, I wouldn't have minded it. I wouldn't have cared. Because if that's the direction they want to go, let that be the direction. Yeah, I understand some people can be upset of how Ian portrayed Amy in the first issue of the Sonic Universe saga Treasure Team Tango, when she basically told Cream to drop it when Cream suggested to her or reminded her that Sonic's dating Sally. Yeah, that may have, a lot of fans may take that, a lot of SonicxAmy fans may take that the wrong way. But basically, that's Amy's way of telling Cream, look, just drop it, okay? I know he's seeing Sally, but just drop it. She doesn't want to hear it because she's already acknowledged it. And like I said, what about the issue before Sonic teamed up with Bunny to go to the Southern Mobius? Huh? What about the end of that issue? I think that was what, 216? Issue 216? What about that issue? Was Sally sitting at Uncle Chuck's diner with Amy? Don't you think maybe they talked a little bit? Okay? You get what I'm saying, all right? You understand, hopefully you understand and get what I'm saying. I mean, yeah, character-wise, Amy may be disappointed that Sonic's chosen Sally, but you know what? If she's mature enough and grown up enough to acknowledge the fact that if being with Sally makes Sonic happy, and in turn makes her happy, then that's all that matters. And if she believes in her heart that she still has a chance, then that's all that matters. So anyway, I just find it ridiculous, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one watching this vid that feels the same way, but I kind of find it ridiculous that you got the Sonic and Amy fans, as well as the SonicxSally fans, that just can't grasp the fact that the way the comic goes is in the best interest for the comic and the fans that support it. And again, if you want to look at it from a fan base, from a fan base following, again, if you want to look at it from a fan base following, SonicxSally have had a fan base since 1993. Before Amy was even known around here, all right? Before Amy became known here in the States, her and SonicxSally had a fan base since 1993. And again, like I said, when they brought out Sonic CD, instead of calling Amy Rose like they did in Japan, they called Amy Princess Sally because that was the only female name here in the U.S. as when it came to the Sonic franchise that the fans knew of. So again, it's more the fact that there are a bunch of fans out there that need to understand this. They need to wake up and understand this. I mean, will they understand it? Probably not, but still, they need to understand where people are coming from with this. Okay? I mean, if the shoe was on the other foot, and Amy Rose was introduced in Sally's place back in '93, if Amy Rose was the lead female character on Sat AM, then things, would be different. Okay? She and Sonic would have the stronger fan base, even today. But that's not the case. And that's the one thing, again, that the SonicxAmy fans that are not neutral are pissed off at. I believe that's the real reason. But again, I can also understand, like I said at the beginning of this video, that there are a majority of fans that feel as though they feel as though they've had the feel of romance. We don't need it anymore. They want more action adventure oriented comic. And then of course there are those that do understand it and feel as though you need a break every now and then, or every now and then with an issue, and every now and then you need to have a calm before the storm issue. And in this case, that's what 222 is. So, but that's just my thought on this whole situation. So, if anybody out there wants to give their opinion on it, you're free to do that. I mean, go ahead, say what you want about it. I mean, it's your choice. But still, it just boggles my mind that you got the neutral side, you got the neutral sides when it comes to the SonicxSally and SonicxAmy supporters that completely understand what's going on overall with everything that I've said here in this video, and don't care either way of how things go. But then you got the other sides of both fan bases that are like, we do care, and this is how we want it. I mean, here's what I look at. If you go on one of these message boards, and you're a Sonic and Amy fan, or a SonicxSally fan, you should just come out and say it before you post, and say something like, all right, first of all, not to cause any trouble, but I will let you know right now, I'm a SonicxAmy fan, and this is how I feel. I mean, if you were to just say that, I'm pretty sure there wouldn't be that much trouble. Same thing with SonicxSally. If you would go on any of these message boards and say, hey, I'm a SonicxSally fan, this is how I feel, then so be it. And I can understand that people have a right to like what pairing that they like. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said earlier, this is a free country. You can like whatever you like. I mean, if you want to like and support Sonic and Amy as a couple, go ahead. If you like like and support SonicxSally as a couple, go ahead. I mean, there's even fans out there that would go as far as to say, hey, I like Sonic and Blaze as a couple, or I like Sonic and Elise as a couple, or I like Sonic and Sarah as a couple, you know, or I like Sonic and my fan character, or my female fan character as a couple, or I like Sonic and J Fox Fire's fan character as a couple, or Sonic and Purity's fan character as a couple. Same with Amy and Sally. You know, you could be like, I support Amy and Tails, or I support Amy and Knuckles, or I support Sally and Kong, or I support Sally and Shadow, or I support Sally and Knuckles. You have the right to that. You have the right to that. I mean, you can even go as far as to say, and some people may find this disturbing, I support Sally and Tails. You know, again, you have a right to that. You have the right to support who you want. That, you know, and say what you want and everything, but come on. And say what you want. You got the right to do all that. But come on. Honestly, are you really going to bitch and moan over the fact that you didn't get what you want? Are you seriously going to say it's out of character for someone like Amy Rose to say what she did in 222 when a lot of people on these message boards have said that it's not totally out of character? Are you going to sit there and say that it's, you know, the comics continuity is not following the game continuity when in fact it is, because it's a combined continuity, it's a one continuity combining both SonicxAmy and the game's continuity? Are you going to sit there and say that? Sit there and say that and bitch and moan and complain until you get what you want? Are you going to say that? Are you going to keep doing that? Probably, but again, just because things don't go your way doesn't mean you have to bitch, moan, and complain. Or, even though you do have the right to do this, even though you have the right and freedom to do this, you don't need to take, and this is just my opinion, you don't need to take an issue like this, a cover to an issue like this, and alter it like this. You don't need to do that. All you just have to say is, look, I mean, okay, I'll give you an example. If I was a SonicxAmy supporter, and I wanted Sonic and Amy together, here's how I would look at it, in a more mature way. If I saw this cover, I would come on a message board, whether it's Ian Flynn's Bumble King forum, the Sega forums, Knothole, Sonic Stadium, or whatever, and I would say, I would compliment, first of all, on how nice the cover is, you know, artwork and everything. But then I would say something like, you know, as much as I don't like, you know, what's on the cover, you know, or something like, as much as I don't like the fact that the cover acknowledges what the issue is going to be, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it, basically. Or you could say something like, I'm a SonicxAmy supporter, and the cover for issue 222 looks nice and everything, even though I don't like the fact that Sally's on the cover, but I'm cool with it. That's all you have to say. You don't have to, like I say, bitch, moan, and complain, even though you got the right to do that, because you're not getting what you want. So, you know, that's all I'm going to say here on this 40-minute, maybe 40-minute plus video, or close to 40 minutes. So, I hope you guys can understand where I'm coming from, and if not, you know, hey, at least I tried to help out. And that's all I'm going to say here. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me if you think it should go a certain way. Tell me what you feel about it, or how you feel about it, because I know there are, you know, like I say, SonicxAmy, SonicxSally supporters here on the YT that probably feel the same way. So, same way as those on the message boards. I also understand there might be SonicxAmy, SonicxSally fans that are neutral, like I am. So, and don't care how a comic goes either way. So, tell me what you think. Comment down below. and I will talk to you all later.